Hi, you guys, and welcome back to Breakthrough with me, your host, Tess Timmons. Today's episode is just me and you talking, and I'm going to be focusing on how I came up with the name of my podcast, and maybe you're hunting for the name of your company, or just pondering names of companies. So let's get started. First, when I was looking at podcasting, it was about 5 years ago, and I took a course through Wittenwire with Melissa Goller. It was a beautiful course where she takes you step by step through and understanding different types of podcasts. You can have a solo podcast, a panel podcast, etc. And also a great formula for designing your podcast and what you want your podcast to be about. And then, of course, the name of your podcast as well. I took this course because I was looking at not only eventually starting my own podcast, but 5 years ago, I really wanted to start out with teaching my students how to make podcasts. So when I was looking at it, I was looking through both of those lenses, right? When I think about my own podcast, I definitely wanted my name in there, Tess Timmons, because I knew that most of my podcast episodes are going to be about interviewing other people. I'm very inquisitive about the world around us. I want to showcase positivity in this world. I want to talk to people who are doing incredible things. And I don't want to narrow myself into just one thing. When I was very young, I thought it would be super cool to be a talk show host, or the original dream was a morning radio show host. So I guess my platform is similar to that. When I was looking at adding in the words breakthrough, I had some different concepts come about. I was taking a breathwork class from Adrienne Rivera, a breathwork coach and spiritual business coach. Within that breathwork session, I came to a realization of something I'd been pondering for about the past 10 years. I was looking at how we are entering a new era of time currently, that we are bringing ourselves to awakening, that we're merging masculine and feminine energy. We've swung out of pendulum, and now I really feel like we're bringing it back. What do I mean by that? I mean that, let's say in the 1980s, we had a lot of like feminine power, but it was feminine power more so owning it like a man. And then we kind of swung to this independent kind of role. And now I feel like we're bridging back, and we all have feminine and masculine energy within ourselves, but I feel like we're coming back from both sides of those pendulums into center stage. I feel like we're finding a new balance. Around COVID, or a little bit before that, I was thinking about how we were getting closer to respect and honoring each other, but then there were some pendulum sweeps taking us backwards. I started thinking about breaking through to the other side. Where is that other side? Where do we really want to be? When I was thinking about that, I didn't want to just keep having it in the future. Are we ever going to reach it? Are we ever going to get there? Are we ever going to have equality? Are we ever going to stop having sexism? Are we ever going to stop hating each other? Are we going to find a way to get along and celebrate and rejoice on this earth as a human global entity, right? And I started thinking about, hey, how do we get to that breakthrough moment of change when we start to have that epiphany? That epiphany of, I want to start a company. That epiphany of, I'm going to care about myself. I'm going to love myself more. I'm going to love this earth more. I'm going to focus on the positivity and bring more of that joy and energy into this world. And so let's break through together to that other side now. Let's find common ground. Let's celebrate together. And let's focus on what the world is doing right. It's not to be ignorant to the issues that are at hand. We will be talking about issues that are going on in this world, but also, how do we honor the fact that we are growing? I had heard from a friend of mine, Omi, that progress isn't just a linear line, that it can be a sense of expansion. And as she spoke about this, I started to really think about my podcast and how I wanted it to be a place of positivity, a place that we could focus on growth and solution-oriented ideas and celebration, and that we could break through together into this world of commonality. When I think about names of companies, I think about the first company that I started. Years ago, I started an editing company. I had been working for a literary agent, and then I branched out on my own, and I started editing people's books or manuscripts or items that they had online. And the name that I came up with then was Treasure Guide. The reason I had that name is because the value of that treasure is within the story. For instance, let's say the Queen of Spain's ship crashes into the Caribbean Ocean and coins are on the bottom of that ocean floor. When they find those coins, those gold coins, the real value of that coin is the story that it holds. That it was on this ship, that it was the Queen's, that pirates came and crashed that ship and stole those coins and took them to another land. And so the worth of that coin is not just the gold, but it's the story that holds it. And so that's how I came up with Treasure Guide, which was my original company. If you ever want editing work done on a story that you have or manuscripts that you have to go online or out to clients, call me. I could edit those for you. I'm really good at it and I love to do it. When I think about other companies and their names, it bridges me back to my family and company names that my family has. One of my parents' companies that they were in a partnership with was called Mile High Mechanical. That company was the first company in Colorado to ever have the words Mile High in it. Isn't that fascinating? Because we have Mile High Stadium, but my family came up with that name first. Also in Colorado, there was a beautiful concert stage that I would go to called Fiddler's Green. I loved seeing concerts there. There's this green grass that you can throw a blanket on, and then there was also seating further upstage. I think we saw Fleetwood Mac there. I know I saw Lauryn Hill there. It's also the first concert I ever went to was there. My parents took me, it was 4th of July, and we went and saw Smokey Robinson. It was not someone that I would have thought to go see because I didn't know that much about him, and I was only in I think 3rd grade. But my family took us. And of course, my mom had us all wear 4th of July shirts with matching flags on them. And we showed up, and as a teenager, we were the only family with matching flag shirts. And I thought, oh my gosh, nerd alert. But here I was at Fiddler's Green, and I got to see Smokey Robinson. It was a great time. Later on, Fiddler's Green became, a corporate name, like Coors Amphitheater Fiddler's Green. It really disheartened me, actually, because the creativity was gone. Now, originally, Coors had to come up with their own name too, right? But I feel like a lot of our stadiums and a lot of our entities are now stamped with a corporation instead of the craft and creativity of a name. Take Mile High Stadium, for example. It's gone through many corporate names on the side of the building. Put your corporation on the cups, but leave the name to be creative. Well, that's my biased opinion anyway. So when we look at this podcast, that's why I'm calling it Breakthrough. It's because I'm going to be talking to different people and interviewing them. You heard from Sarah and her magnificent career choices and her out-of-the-box sports alignment. She's now racing airplanes, teaching other people how to fly airplanes. You'll be hearing from my former students. We're talking about purchasing cars. I've got a travel episode coming up in a couple of weeks. So these breakthrough moments are here to inspire you, whether you are trying to get a trip, whether you're thinking about a car, whether you're thinking about flying an airplane or starting your own company. Any of this stuff could help you break through into another dream that you are acquiring yourself. So thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking around. These one-on-one sessions are a little bit shorter, which is good because I know my interviews are a little bit longer, right? About an hour long. But, if you don't have time for watching an entire hour, watch it in chunks. Watch the first half while you're doing your laundry and batch cooking on a Sunday. Watch the second half while you go for a walk or ride your bike or drive to work. And thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. Subscribe, like, and I'll see you next time. All right. Have a good evening. Bye.